We're following breaking news in the deadly midair collision near the nation's capital between an Army Black Hawk helicopter and a commercial jet. The FAA now significantly restricting helicopter traffic in the immediate vicinity of Washington Reagan National Airport. Some of the airspace has already been restricted due to the ongoing search and recovery efforts over the crash site. Investigators believe the 64 people on the American Eagle bombardier jet out of Wichita, Kansas, and the 3 soldiers on the helicopter were all killed. Crews are still trying to recover more bodies from the Potomac River. So far, they have recovered at least 40. We're also learning more about who these people were, and at least 14 of them had attended a training camp tied to the U.S. Figure Skating Championships in Wichita, Kansas. The crew of the American Eagle flight was based out of Charlotte. We've also confirmed that at least one of the passengers aboard the plane was a Charlotte woman. Meanwhile, the 3 soldiers on the Army training flight were out of the base in the D.C. area. Still, there are many questions that remain unanswered, including the major one, how it happened. And as Washington correspondent Raquel Martin tells us, the National Transportation Safety Board is now in charge of figuring that out.
2 black boxes recovered from the scene of what's now the most deadly U.S. plane crash in 16 years are now in the hands of investigators.
We will take the time that's necessary.
The black boxes containing cockpit recordings from the plane's final moments were transported to a lab for evaluation Thursday night.
We're here to assure the American people that we are going to leave no stone unturned.
Investigators are working to determine why the military chopper appeared to be flying at the same altitude as the plane, and if the air traffic controller on duty did enough to alert the plane's pilot.
That should not have happened.
President Donald Trump is throwing out his own theories about what caused the helicopter to hit the plane.
Maybe the pilot's fault, they should have seen it.
And suggested DEI priorities at the FAA could be to blame.
Shame on him for questioning the training, the commitment, the experience, the expertise of the crew that were there.
Democratic Senator Tammy Duckworth, a Purple Heart veteran, says the focus should be the victims, which includes 3 soldiers who were on the chopper.
We need to take care of the family members.
More victims are now identified. That includes 30-year-old Kaya Duggins, a professor at Howard University.
And more names are being released in that deadly midair crash. The Associated Press reports the American Airlines captain Jonathan Campos is among the deceased, along with Danisha Elder, who was a flight attendant, Ryan O'Hara, one of the 3 soldiers on the helicopter, Andrew Eves, one of the 3 on the helicopter as well. The first officer on the American Airlines flight was Sam Lilly. His father says he was excited to see how his son's life was progressing. Today, he's grieving his death.
I was so proud of him because I'm a pilot, and this is just difficult. I used to fly helicopters on that same exact route that the helicopters were flying when I was in the Army back in the 90s, and I just can't understand what happened here.
And Lilly says that his son went to Georgia Southern for his marketing career, but after a couple of months, he decided to switch to the skies. He says Sam passionately pursued the career and got his license quickly, and since then he'd been working at PSA and had loved it. Sadly, his father says he heard about the crash on the news.
We saw that there was an accident. I didn't think it was anyway Sam, and I knew he was on a trip, so through my wife, I got in touch with his fiance, and we found out what trip he was on. It was the same trip, and he wasn't answering the phone. That's what I knew.
He says even though his son wasn't answering the phone, he figured it was just turned off. He says Sam was good at cutting it off during the flights, but eventually he couldn't shake the feeling. Lilly says he doesn't want to blame anyone, but he does want to know exactly what happened, and he wants to make sure it doesn't happen again. Lilly says Sam was a very happy person and lived life to the fullest. He says the one thing that brings him happiness is that he knows Sam was right in his faith and he is in a better place. 12:07 now, and here in North Carolina, Governor Josh Stein is ordering all U.S. and North Carolina flags on state facilities to fly half-staff until sunset today. This is in tribute to the victims who died Wednesday night in the crash. In a statement, the governor said, quote, "My heart goes out to everyone who lost loved ones in the tragic DCA plane crash, and Anna and I are praying for all involved, including the families of the Charlotte-based crew members."